Good morning everyone, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here in my flat in Rochester, Kent, and the time is approximately 8:30 in the morning. I got up at 10 past. My children are grown up, so fortunately I haven't got to take kids to school this morning. So I've just got myself up, made myself my morning cup of coffee. I'm just taking things easy this morning as they come. So guys, good morning. I hope everybody has a really great day. The weather seems to have got colder and cooler. I don't see any sunshine this morning. Still noisy down this street. What's coming down the road now? We've got a builder with a white helmet on and a DJ Civils vehicle, because they're still building flats down the bottom of the road, so you still get the vehicles coming down with the flashing lights and the builders. Last night I took Max for a walk, the usual time, getting on for 7. The weekend hadn't been too bad, to be fair. I'd had no noise from upstairs at all, and the only noise I get really is, for some reason, and I don't know why, next door gets noisy before bedtime. So about 2 or 3 hours before it's time to go to bed, we just get a load of noise near the front door and near my kitchen, and while I'm trying to just relax and watch the telly, you get like 3 hours of, I don't know what it is, I really don't, it's just noise, let's put it that way. So I just try and watch my telly and just sit there and just take no notice of it, and it seems like it's done deliberately, because it feels like whoever it is trying to get a reaction, if you know what I mean, because they did once about a month ago, and I don't react to it now. No, because things got out of hand. So I got woken out of my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't very happy, put it that way. I don't think anybody likes being woken up out of a deep sleep and you just don't know where you are, and then, oh my God, what is going on, you know. Don't get like that now, I try not to anyway. I just go in another room, even if I have to just snooze in another room for a bit and then come back in. Just let them get it out their system, and they run out of puff and then eventually go to bed anyway. So again, it was noisy there, not upstairs, there, that way. When I went out last night, there was 2 characters, and they were dressed like they were Arabs. They had like full headgear from head to toe, sunglasses, bandanas over their heads, and I thought I was in a different country. I've never seen them before in my life. They were walking towards me, the road opposite, and then the female went off in a big grey van with dark windows. Never seen them before. There was a couple in front of me walking a thin dog, and I could see its bones through its chest, and I just thought maybe that's the type of the dog, because greyhounds are like that, they're thin dogs. And they went past, and I just walked around the fields and kept myself to myself, which I do. The tents were still there, blowing in the wind. It must be quite cold. Yesterday was extremely windy and blowing everything about, the plants off my balcony. Everything off my balcony was blown over. It was good for drying clothes though, windy. It was good for drying the clothes. Yeah, the things that are going on before the weekend are still going on, and I just cope with them. So the walk was okay. I tried to keep my spirits up and not get depressed. I hadn't visited or seen anybody over the weekend, but I wasn't miserable. And I did manage to go out to the Sweeps Festival on the Saturday, which I enjoyed thoroughly, even though it was busy and people were shoving me about. When I came back last night into my flat, I just kept quiet, and I had really quiet music on in the background. So I put some 70s music on. I like a variety of music, 70s music, 80s music, all kinds of music. So I put some music on. I'm managing to look after myself, even though my benefits have been stopped. And I mean, it's not the 18th of May yet. I still do not know what my universal credit's going to be. So I don't know. So I'm managing day to day. That's what I'm doing. I'm just managing day to day, and I'm making sure I've got food in my belly. My dog and cat have got food, and then we'll deal with everything else. But I am managing. I wouldn't say I'm sinking. I spoke to my mum a couple of days ago. I was going to go up and see her Sunday, but I decided not to. Both our finances, both mine and my mother's, have been cut short. I don't know what's happened at my mum's end. My benefits have been stopped and I've had to claim universal credit, so I don't know what's happening with my mum. I do intend to go and see her one day, but I don't want the crap to start again. I don't want to get cross. I don't want to be wound up. I don't want to get stressed, and I don't want to have any silly nonsense. I'm an adult. I can get up. I can get my own taxi. I can go home if there's any silly business. You know, Jennifer is my mother. I go to visit my mum. I care about my mother, and that's it. I don't want all this silly play acting and trying to get me cross. And I know there's other people involved in the background. My mum won't tell me. I can't interfere, so I'm protecting myself, my sanity, my mental health, and I don't want any silly business. I'm not going to get cross with anybody. I should just walk off, get a taxi, go home. I don't want any stupidity. I'm there to see my mum. It's her birthday on the 14th, and I don't want to be shouted at and mistreated. End of. I should just walk out, get home in a taxi myself. I'll make sure I've got the funds to do so. I'm not having any silly business anymore. I'm protecting my health. So I was listening to music last night and relaxing until it must have been about 10 when it started to get badly noisy next door. And I couldn't concentrate on anything. So the noise if you can't concentrate on what you're doing, isn't the noise bad? But I didn't react to the noise. No, I stopped doing what I was doing. I put it down because I was getting annoyed, and then I walked off and did something else. So I went into the bathroom, checked on my clothes, I went into another room and sorted something out, and then eventually I got to bed. So I've managed to get up this morning. Everything's fine. I'm not feeling in a particularly happy mood, but I'm okay. The weather, the sun's not out and it looks cooler, and it's a normal week now. People are at work and school, so we'll see what happens this week, right? So I hope everybody has a great Tuesday, and we'll see what happens. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. On this day in 2004, nearly 53 million viewers tuned in for the last episode of Friends, making it one of the most watched finales in TV history. It turns out that Friends had a lot of friends.
Yeah, I used to watch Friends. Jennifer Aniston. I used to watch Friends a lot. Alexa, what's the time, please?
Good morning, Crystal. It's 8:38 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Tuesday, the 6th of May.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, it's 9 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has overcast weather, with a high of 13 degrees and a low of 4 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
Who goes to the bathroom in the middle of a party? A party pooper.
She's got some new jokes. Alexa, who was born on this day? Right,
Celebrities born on the 6th of May include Luigi Mangione, George Clooney, Sigmund Freud, Nicholas II, and Emily Armstrong.
So it's George Clooney's birthday today. Alexa, how old is George Clooney? Alexa, how old is George Clooney?
George Clooney is 64 years old.
64. He was in the paper 63 a few days ago. Now he's 64. When I'm 64. Beatles song. I love the Beatles. Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr. Love the Beatles. Everything's getting older now. Help, I need somebody, help. Not just anybody, help. I need somebody now. So guys, yeah. We're all getting older. Everybody is, every single day. So, another day. And you just get on with it, don't you? Because you've got no choice. We're all on the same journey. We are taking different paths. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Unlock exclusive features and content from LBC and even join the conversation. Send a comment to LBC. Just say, ask Global Player to link my account.
Same temperature.
Jonathan, thank you. We'll have more reaction on that. Let's come to other matters. We've just been through a bank holiday. I hope you had a pleasant one. Did you take the opportunity perhaps to go out into the countryside to see some of our amazing buildings and historical sites? Well, you might want to rush, because there's a real danger that we could now be looking at some planning reforms that will kill nature. Now, earlier in the year, I spoke with the Director General of the National Trust, Hilary McGrady. She has a piece, by the way, on lbc.co.uk, in which she expands on the views, a little of which she told me back in March.
We're really concerned right from our, when we were formed 130 years ago, we really are passionately clear that people need more than just places to live. They need places to thrive. They need access to nature. They need to have the ability to get out and close to nature. And so we are calling for a balanced approach. Of course, we need new homes, but they need to be in places that are not floodplains. They need to be in places that people can access nature.
Now, the Planning and Infrastructure Bill has been making its tortuous way through Parliament. Politicians say it's a win-win for housing and nature. Well, not in the view of that chief executive, but now to Sarah Lee, who's Director of Policy at the Countryside Alliance. Where does your organisation, the Countryside Alliance, stand on the Planning and Infrastructure Bill then? Sarah, good morning.
Good morning. At a headline, we do support the government's ambition for a growth agenda to build more homes, to upgrade our infrastructure, but it's got to go hand in hand with protecting our environment and involving local communities, especially in rural areas where it's going to be most impacted. So we very much share some of the concerns that the National Trust are raising on this bill.
What are the concerns that you have in common?
One of the big concerns we have is stripping away local consultation. So we've got to the point now that local democracy is just being eroded. It strips away early community consultation, weakens environmental safeguards. Developers could damage rivers, meadows, wildlife. When simply paying for central funds with no clear plan on how they or where they're going to spend the money to recover that nature.
So what should the plan include?
We definitely want to see early consultation put back into that plan. So local communities are part of the solution. Rural communities are going to be delivering the majority of these proposals, and they need to have their say. They need to be involved in these consultations. They're already feeling sidelined with first of the family farm tax. Then we have the closures of the same farm initiative scheme. This will add that feeling of rural communities being ignored.
Is it a licence to kill nature?
In the wrong hands, it's totally a licence to kill nature. We need to have appropriate safeguards put in place to protect that nature. We know that nature and the environment is good for our mental health, it's good for our environment, it's good for our communities. And if we just prioritise housing with no safeguards, then we're going to end up with soulless communities.
Lastly, Sarah, what are your worst fears, concerns over this?
That we concrete over the countryside, and then we realise what we've done far too late.
Do you really think that's possible? Is it really as dire as that, the situation, would you say?
It can be a dire situation. Even one of the proposals contained in the bill is could land be converted to purchase below market value. So they've got no regard for those who own the land, those who are managing the countryside. So they just want to live on their growth agenda without any thoughts.
Sarah Lee is Director of Policy at Countryside Alliance. Thanks, Sarah. I tell you can get more on the story, but Hilary McGrady's point anyway, by going to the lbc.co.uk, 8:44. Let's take another call. Who's been holding on? Adolphus in Croydon, a long time to talk about winter fuel payments. Should the government U-turn on this? Good morning.
Good morning. I don't think that they should. I know it's a very contentious issue, but I don't think that they should, purely because if they're going to, like I was saying to your producer, if they're going to flip-flop on their policy decisions every time they have a bad showing at a local election, they're never going to achieve anything. The way that, and as I was saying to your producer, they would have had a range of options when they decided to make the choice to cut the winter fuel allowance in order to save the money and balance the books as so it were. But
this is wrong, though, isn't it?
I don't disagree that it is wrong, but they said that that's what they was going to do.
But if it's wrong, and it's cost them a massive chunk of the vote in the local elections last week, it's almost beholden on them to take action, isn't it? Otherwise, well, someone's saying they could lose the election, which is incredible from a position of 170 majority.
But arguably, they would have had a vision when they made that decision that making the cut now would allow them to bring in further, maybe more positive changes later on down the line. They've only been in for less than a year. But with that in mind, this is why I think it's wrong for them to go back on that decision, because if, let's say, we get to 4 years in, 5 years in, it's election time again, and then more things are positive, we'll look back and think, oh, well, maybe they were right to change the winter fuel allowance.
Adolphus, thank you. One of the other decisions made, of course, by Chancellor Rachel Reeves was non-DOMs, and the fact that the non-DOM policy was withdrawn for people living in this country. Editor-in-Chief of City AM, Christian May, told me earlier about the possible loss to the economy.
If half of the UK's non-DOMs, we pay about £500,000 each in tax in this country. If about half of them leave, you're going to take a hit to the public finances of about £12 billion. And by the way, they are leaving.
This budget really is unravelling at breakneck speed, isn't it? We'll have more on that aspect in the next hour. It's 8:46. LBC News headlines are read by Thomas Watts.
The Health Secretary, Wes Streetings, defended the cut to winter fuel payments, but has admitted it's become an issue on the doorstep. Israel says an expansion of its offensive against Hamas will include a wide-scale attack and the movement of the majority of Gazans. A poll for LBC has found 4 in 10 people don't know what happened on the E-Day. LBC weather generally dry with sunny spells, cloudy with some showers in eastern England, a high of 17 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Joanne Webb. There are delays on the A13 westbound to the Goresbrook interchange. It's because a car broke down earlier and one lane remains closed. Very busy on the M1 southbound, junction 14 at Milton Keynes. So one lane stays closed following an accident. Also delays on the A40. This is eastbound to Perivale, where one lane stays closed for the ongoing works right near to the Hoover building. And that's causing delays back towards the Target roundabout at Northolt. On the trains, C2C services are delayed between Upminster and Grays. That's because of an ongoing investigation. Better news though for Southern. Those southbound delays at Watford Junction have cleared, and on the Underground there are minor delays on the Metropolitan line.
This is LBC.
Last year, Amazon was the world's largest corporate buyer of renewable energy. Meaning more and more of our energy comes from wind.
Right, good morning everybody, have a great day, see you later.